Imagine this. You wake up in a tiny European village, way back when, before everything. No lights, no TikTok, not even bad coffee to help out. Just muddy roads, strange smells. People are doing whatever they can to survive. One cold, one stubbed toe, and you might not make it. But here's the wild part. These regular folks are about to witness some insane events. Rome's gone, which is bad news. The world basically becomes the medieval version of now what? Then came the Crusades, then the Black Death barges in like the world's worst house guest. And towns start rising where only forests and wolves ruled before. This isn't just dusty textbook stuff. It's grit, hope, terrible luck, and somehow survival. Stick around. This isn't your grandpa's dull history lesson. What happens next will blow your mind, freak you out a little, and totally change how you see the Middle Ages. So, picture this. Your family has carved out a life in Harold's Cross for centuries. Granddad's granddad dodged raiders. He chewed on roots during famines. Somehow, he survived enough chaos that there's now this scrappy little community clinging on. Survival is always a mix of street smarts, teamwork, and luck. Then, bam! The Pope says, "Everyone to Jerusalem! Let's have a crusade!" Suddenly, all hell breaks loose. Lords strut around swearing they'll lead the finest troops. Villagers are bribed with promises of holy rewards if they pitch in. Even tossing someone a sack of flour is called a ticket to heaven if that flour ends up on the road to the Holy Land. Your son, restless and full of energy, suddenly wants in. "Dad, please let me go. I want to see the world, do epic stuff." And you? You're terrified. He might come back a legend, or never come back at all. It's a coin flip. After endless late-night talks, you decide, fine, but not alone and not empty-handed. You send him with trusted friends. And not just for fighting. You pack trade goods too. If he's trekking all that way, he better come back with more than just stories. You're turning the holy trek into a startup expedition. Meanwhile, Europe is buzzing. Markets are wild. Merchants and bankers scheme to profit. Venice and Genoa line up ships. Textile folks dream about silk from the east. What begins as March for God quickly turns into an economic gold rush. So, your son heads toward Jerusalem. One pocket full of prayers, the other full of business plans. And while he's gone, all of Europe jolts forward. Ideas, cash, big dreams. Ricocheting around like one massive power-up. Generations pass. Crusaders return. Or don't. Trade routes expand. Towns grow stronger. Life almost feels steady again. And then, out of nowhere, a darker storm arrives. Now it's you, Catherine, walking the muddy lanes of Harold's Cross. The town is booming, stone houses, the clang of forges, a busy market, even a small university nearby. It all looks good until a rat-infested nightmare rolls up from the south. The plague. The town council panics. Should they bolt the gates and risk going broke, or keep doors open and hope for the best? They settle for half measures, harass travelers, scrub walls, pray like mad. Spoiler, it doesn't work. Within weeks, people are coughing, dying. Rich, poor, family, strangers, no one is safe. Your own father gets sick. In a blink, A third of the town is gone. Streets fill with dread. Nothing makes sense. But when the dust settles, everything is changed. Workers are no longer cheap. Survivors demand higher pay. Craftsmen and farmhands, once looked down on, now call the shots. If you're alive, you've got leverage. You roll up your sleeves and run the family business. We shape deals, spot new gaps in the market. The town limps back to life. Trade returns, but it feels different now. The old pecking order? Broken. From now on, survival isn't about your birth. It's about hustle, brains, and stubborn grit. Now the plague has passed. Survivors rebuild. And here begins a new chapter: commerce and innovation. Catherine spots opportunity in recovery. She partners with Nicholas, a scholar with a bold idea. He designs an improved loom. It doubles production. Guilds resist. They fear losing control. But you invest anyway. Build new workshops. Expand trade networks. Soon, textiles, spices, and exotic goods flow in from distant lands. Knowledge travels with trade. Universities start teaching practical subjects: medicine, law, even engineering. Financial tools evolve. Bills of exchange make it possible to move money without hauling coins. Every innovation, every deal, every connection reshapes the town. Slowly, the whole continent shifts. The medieval world becomes less isolated, more ambitious, more aware of the wider globe. Now comes politics, the next transformation. Money talks, and once trade grows, officials show up with rules and taxes. Weights and currency are standardized. Local control fades. Merchants like you suddenly have the ear of kings. Kings, meanwhile, play the unification game. They draw borders, write laws, keep standing armies, not just calling in grumpy knights anymore. The old feudal order is crumbling. Towns are now the real centers of power. And the skyline tells the story. Cathedrals stretch toward the clouds. Gothic spires pierce the sky. Clocks tick on towers, blowing people's minds. Germany begins printing, an absolute game changer. Universities no longer produce only priests. They turn toward medicine, law, science, and engineering. The Renaissance isn't here yet, but you can feel it coming. Europe is getting ready for its leap forward. Time passes. You sit in your garden. Grandkids run between the basil and daisies, and you think back. Your family's story is Europe's story. When Rome collapsed, survival was almost impossible. Then came the Crusades, wild journeys that opened doors to trade and new ideas. Then the Black Death, a nightmare, but also a reset. Suddenly, survivors had leverage. They could demand more from life. Then merchants and scholars took over. Streets buzzed with trade. Ideas zipped from city to city. Huts became stone houses. Markets became towns. Towns became cities. Power shifted. Kings and queens built nations. Coins replaced barter. Laws replaced chaos. From fear to ambition, step by step, Europe transformed. And now, as the sun dips golden in your garden, it clicks. History isn't a dusty book. It's alive. It's one generation picking up where the last left off. Survive, adapt, pass the torch. Medieval times are ending, and the modern world is beginning to rise. What a ride, right? Regular folks thrown into chaos, and somehow they endured with guts, hope, and clever thinking. If you enjoyed this journey, smash that like button, subscribe, ring the bell, drop a comment below. Tell me what blew your mind most. Plenty more untold stories are on the way. History is alive, and you've just walked through it.